Hey you guys, it's Christina, and today we are going to be talking about how to reverse diabetes eating Fullyraw. I have a special guest here to address this important topic that is very close to my heart. Over 115 million people in the US have diabetes or prediabetes. In 2012, the total cost of diagnosed diabetes was $245 billion in the US alone. Many of you know that I went Fullyraw because I had hyperglycemia, which is the onset of type 2, and I was able to completely reverse it by going Fullyraw. One of my best friends, Robbie, is a passionate advocate for diabetes wellness. Robbie is a type 1 diabetic who's been eating Fullyraw for 8 years now. We've known each other for over 7 years, and we found each other because we both approach this lifestyle because of our blood sugar issues. We have shared in this passion for years together now, and we've become so close. And I can honestly say that it is hard to find a friend that is better than the one who is sitting next to me here today. Robbie is now known as the Mindful Diabetic, and he's here to show the world how diabetics can increase their health eating Fullyraw. Robbie, I am so glad to have you here today.
Well, it's great to be here in Houston, hanging out with you. We're making delicious food, going to co-op, enjoying quality time, and just watching you do your thing. It's great. I love it. So, as you know, I also love talking about diabetes, sharing some positivity, so thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the difference between type 1 and type 2. You are a type 1 diabetic. Can you tell us the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes?
That's right. So, type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune condition. That's where the body attacks its own insulin-producing cells in the pancreas. So my pancreas does not produce insulin right now, and I inject insulin to keep my blood sugars in a healthy range. Every single human being needs insulin to survive. It's a hormone that allows sugar to get out of the bloodstream and into the cells to power our cells. Now, type 2 diabetes is more of a lifestyle condition. The body is still producing insulin, but it's not being used efficiently. So when we talk about curing diabetes, this is the type we're talking about. And the good news is 95% of all diabetics are type 2s.
So you haven't been able to stop taking insulin, but you have had a lot of success with eating Fullyraw. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely, that's correct. So your condition was the precursor to type 2 diabetes. So you could completely reverse it. In my case, I've been eating a Fullyraw diet exactly as you teach for 8 years now and getting amazing results. So I have not had an A1C higher than 6.1. And an A1C is a measure of how well somebody's been managing their blood sugar over the past 2 to 3 months. So a normal non-diabetic will have an A1C between 4.5 and 6.0. So for a diabetic, anything around, a type 1 diabetic, anything around 6.0 is really great. My latest A1C was 5.8. So I've been able to do this eating a lot of carbohydrates, whole food carbohydrates. I eat about 750 grams a day, compared to the American Diabetes Association recommendation of somewhere around 250 on the high end. So I eat a lot of carbohydrates, whole foods, healthy carbs, but I don't cover it with insane amounts of insulin. So I take about 40 units of insulin a day, which is very healthy for a type 1 diabetic. The reason I can do this is because my diet is low fat, and the carbs I eat are from whole foods that contain lots of fiber and water.
So you're saying that fat is the problem and perhaps that low fat is the solution. That's beautiful. I'm always making videos about how important a low fat diet is and how showing low fat recipes can be delicious and beneficial. But maybe you can explain a little bit more about why low fat is important for diabetics in particular.
Exactly. Too much fat in the diet leads to insulin resistance. That is the problem for diabetes. So fat inside the cells prevents insulin from doing its job. So for type 1 diabetics, you clear out the fat, you're going to need less overall insulin, your blood sugars are going to be more stable, and your insulin to carb ratio will improve significantly. For type 2 diabetics, it's a whole other story. You can actually completely get off all your medications, of course working with your doctor, but essentially diabetes disappears.
So let's talk a little bit about fruit and blood sugar. One of the things that I hear most frequently asked from people is, how can you eat fruit and be a diabetic and not have your blood sugar go crazy? I get these comments all of the time. What do you say to people who ask you about food?
No, I'm so glad you brought this up. I mean, this is a very important issue. I get the same questions all the time. The issue is accumulated fat inside the cells. The accumulated fat is not going to get cleared out overnight. So how long it takes for the extra fat to be cleared, it varies from person to person, but usually in a matter of days.
So let's talk a little bit about you being the mindful diabetic. You've just started your own YouTube channel. You are sharing your life. You are sharing your pictures and your knowledge. You're sharing how much insulin you take and everything. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I just started YouTube and it's fun. I love it. And yes, so I'm making videos sharing what my girlfriend and I are buying to keep our apartment full of healthy foods. You know, I'm going to share testimonials about type 1 diabetics, type 2 diabetics, highlight a lot of the research in scientific journals where the foundation of this comes from, and also probably making a few simple recipes in the kitchen. So it's called Mindful Diabetic, and the definition of mindful is to be conscious or aware of something. And I want every single diabetic to be aware of how powerful this lifestyle is for us.
So let's talk a little bit about reversing diabetes eating fully raw. And so for those of you who are watching, maybe perhaps you could give us 3 different tips or ways that we can get started. We all know how powerful this lifestyle can be. So let's ask the real question. Is it possible to reverse diabetes eating fully raw?
The answer is absolutely yes, no question about it. We just visited a former type 2 diabetic that you had coached, and she was on metformin for over 7 years, and you coached her. And after 2 months of following a fully raw diet, she was off her medications. And now to this day, she's eating all the fruit she wants and doesn't even think about diabetes. It's just not an issue for her. So, of course, I think fully raw is the goal. It's the gold standard. I mean, that's what we love. It's what we believe is best. But I want people to be aware of all their options, of what they can do. So I have 3 steps to reverse diabetes. The first one is to get yourself educated. Watch the documentary Forks Over Knives, and then read 2 books, Dr. Barnard's Program for Reversing Diabetes and the 80-10-10 Diet. This intellectual understanding will be very important as a foundation while you're going through the transition period. There's so much confusion in the diabetes community about carbohydrates, and fruit and all that, so you really need this education.
Absolutely.
Step 2 is to establish a baseline. Take the time to document your current diet so you know where you are. This is a very eye-opening experience for most people because they're very surprised to see exactly how much fat is actually in their diet. So you combine 1 and 2, and now it's like, okay, I'm really going to do this. So step 3 is to jump in 100% for 30 days. And I understand the whole concept, progress, not perfection, just change a meal at a time. But if you already have diabetes, you're already diagnosed, you already have the motivation. So you owe it to yourself to see what you're capable of. And I promise you, you're capable of more than you think you are. And sticking to a low-fat, high-carb diet, it's not that hard. It's actually a lot of fun. And you can do this. So you can start out with just following a Forks Over Knives style diet and eat some starches. Or you can go 100% fully raw. You can do some combination in between. It doesn't matter. The point is, you keep your diet low-fat, whole foods, high-carbohydrate, you're gonna see amazing results in 30 days.
30 days.
That's it. And some people, they might get concerned. You know what? It's a lie. I can't do it. They're scared. But listen, let's pretend you were 20 years old and you got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and you change your diet for 30 days. That's literally less than 0.5% of your life. So for 99.5% of your life, you did the things that led to this condition. And I'm telling you, I'm promising you, in 30 days, you will see amazing results. In most cases, type 2s will be off their medication.
I always tell people to take it 1 day at a time. 1 fruit at a time, 1 step at a time, whatever you need to do to keep yourself inspired, motivated, and moving forward towards greater health. So Robbie, I am so honored and excited that you came here to stay with me, that we're able to share our experience and our knowledge with people so that maybe perhaps they can take greater strides to get healthier as well. For those of you who want more information on how to eat vegan or go fully raw or just get healthy, if you have diabetes, please check the links in the description below this video. We'll put some great information down there for you. We also encourage you to comment on this video and ask questions because both of us are going to be responding and trying to answer as many questions as we can. For those of you who want to follow my dear friend Robbie here, you can find him at...
The YouTube channel is Mindful Diabetic Robbie.
awesome. And he's sharing his life, how much insulin he's taking, what he's eating. He's doing an amazing job of inspiring others. If you guys want more tips, tricks, or recipes on how to go fully raw, you can also subscribe here to Fullyraw Christina as we have fun learning about this lifestyle and getting healthy together. If you guys want to follow me daily, you can also find me on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and Twitter, all at Fullyraw Christina. All right, you guys, we're gonna go and enjoy the rest of this beautiful day and eat some delicious fruits and vegetables, and we hope that you get to go and do the same. Sending you all our hugs and our love. Bye.
Some tricks and recipes how to go fully raw.
No. All right. So we'll start at the when. Those were some epic persimmons, man.
Not persimmons.
Those were some good persimmons. I think they give you a little bit of gas though.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's what you get for eating those persimmons.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, doing pretty good.
Sounds good, if she says so. I win.